were from India or had been in India before. It wasn't quite as bad as what I thought it was going to be, I think, because of what they told me beforehand. There were many little things, like more people walking on the road and uh, driving on the left side of the road instead of the right side. But then there were some bigger things like whenever there would be any kind of religious function going on, depending on where you were, there were times they were decorating live elephants or camels, and you would have to wait for them to cross the road before you could keep driving. There was many things that were different, but it's completely different than what I thought it was going to be going into it because I didn't know what it was going to be. How they live, there's so many people there that I mean, people here told me before I went this how the standard of living was much lower for many people there, and uh, that doesn't put any kind of justice to it at all until you actually go and see it. Where I was, it wasn't terrible, but they're all so happy with what they have. They have so much less than the people here, and you would never guess it if you didn't go and see it. If you just talk to somebody from there, because it doesn't matter what they have; it's who they know. They're so religious to an extent that they know all they need is God and their family and their friends, so they don't need material objects. People here take things for granted, and my friends, there's little things that have come up, and we'll be upset because we don't have something, or you didn't get your advancement with your job, and they're going out and fishing for a living, and yeah, there's fishermen here, but I'm talking they go out on a boat that's this long by just one or two people on this boat and get a net of fish and come all the way back in and dump it and go all the way back out and come all the way back in, and they're making a few rupees off of the fish. It's ridiculous the difference. I guarantee you there was maybe two or three people that I met that weren't truly completely happy about everything with their life. Of course they wanted something better, but they weren't greedy about it. Their perspective of America, it varied from person to person, but generally, um, they all kind of had certain opinions that were very alike. They they only see the tabloids, the big news things. They don't come to or they don't see little things like this. Meetings and how people get by day to day. They're seeing Justin Bieber on the news, and every single one of them has him as their ringtone. And whenever I was playing guitar for the kids, that was the first person they would ask about. Do you know any Justin Bieber songs? Do you know any One Direction songs? They, they only see our big tabloids, so they think that's how everybody lives. We're all big rock stars, superstars. We're all rich. There was kids that would walk up to me, and they just I guess it had happened before in the past, but they just come up and go 10 rupees, 10 rupees. They thought I was going to give it to them, I guess, because tourists in the past that had been doing that. So they just think everybody over here is rich. Now, again, it varies from person to person because as they grow older, now since they're becoming a little more modern, many of them are starting to understand that's not how it is because they're more knowledgeable. They're learning about it. Until you get to the more political people who really know what's going on over here, um, they have no idea. As far as the kids go, they just think it's all great and everybody's happy, and which is the case for a lot of people. It's opened my eyes to a lot of things. It's changed my perspective. I'm not a completely different person after going there, like some people thought would happen. You know, I'm the same person. I'm just aware of a lot of things that I wasn't before. You know, the differences in cultures, the differences in the world. You know, like I had said before, just generally how happy they all are. You know, how much we take things for granted. I think the biggest thing for me would be that I've learned a lot about myself just from being around the people that I was with, because originally I was supposed to go and work with one school. It was the principal was actually a student of Father Thomas's, and I was going to go there and teach basketball, coach basketball, teach guitar, just kind of interact with all the students there. And I was there for maybe 2 weeks, and I was in like 5 different newspapers. Principals from all the surrounding schools were calling, asking when I was going to be able to come to their school. You know, I ended up going to 4, 5, 6 different schools. I went to a couple of colleges. I worked at a YMCA. I actually got invited to play in one of their professional tournaments on a weekend because I was the coach of a couple of the sons of the dads that were playing. They were so welcoming. I don't even think it was just because of basketball, because I was invited to all their different plays, their activities. I took part in the Christmas program. I played the guitar and sang whenever the children's choir was singing Christmas carols during the program. I played the king in one of the plays during their annual day. So, you know, just all that interaction with them, it kind of opened me up too. You know, I've always been an outgoing person. I guess as far as kids go, you know, I like working with kids. I like playing around with kids. I'm still kind of a kid myself, but being around that many kids and how loving and open they were. I mean, they were so innocent. They didn't know. Some of the kids were, you know, kindergarten age, this tall, and they didn't even know what basketball was. But the second they saw a tall white guy walking out with a colorful round ball, they were just all over it, hanging on my legs. What are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing? You know, and I've never experienced that with people here. You know, not that everybody here is all snobby or anything, you know, but they're so innocent with everything that. I mean, I could have told those kids anything. I could have done anything, and that's the way it was. They would have went right along with it because they immediately trusted me. They immediately wanted to listen to me. Again, it just opened me up. You know, I was doing things and talking to little kids about anything and everything, and it felt weird at first. You know, I don't even talk to some adults the way that I talk to some of these kids, just because it was fun for me. It was something that I haven't experienced before, and I'm hoping that one day that can carry into whatever I'm doing in my life. You know, and whether it's here or whether I can go back there or whether I can go somewhere else, wherever I go, I will be able to use that with any other kids that I meet, interact with. And hope that brings that out in them also, because, you know, people need that in their lives, and especially kids. It's one of the main things is having fun with whatever you're doing, and that's what they taught me. You know, I was having a good time when I was there, but it amplified it whenever I saw just how much they wanted to do whatever we were doing. After school, I would be walking from the school to the monastery. And I couldn't go 5 feet, and one of them was asking me to go with him to go get a drink down in the village, or let's go play basketball. Let's go in the back and play football. The first day I was there, I couldn't even move whenever I got there, because every single kid from kindergartners to 10th or 11th or 9th or 10th standard, didn't matter what age they were, just rush up and they got pens and papers, autograph. They didn't even know who I was. They didn't know what I was there for or anything. That would be the biggest thing I learned was about myself, many, many things. Scared. I hopped in the car with Father Matthew and thought we were going to die. Which I quickly learned that that's how they drive there. It's not just Father Matthew. They're not strict on road rules. So if it says go 40 kilometers an hour, that means if there's a police officer, you go 40 kilometers an hour. If there's not a police officer, you're going as fast as you can go until you're right behind the next car. And then you weave around them. There was times there would be a public bus right beside a taxi, right beside a scooter, with another scooter right behind that, all coming down right at you. They're all side by side. So you're coming this way in a little car, thinking, okay, how are we going to get around this? You just have to pull off the road. It's not even against the rules. You just all drive beside each other. You weave in and out, and there's times that you have to wait to turn to the left or the right because that entire way is blocked by cars coming this way. So you can't even, there's no lane for it. You can't go. You just have to wait. People walking across the street, you got to dodge them. I mean, you don't just dodge cars, you dodge people, you dodge animals. It's a rule. You have to let people's animals cross if it's a goat or an elephant or whatever. You just got to miss them. Father Matthew, I asked him, I said, how does it work? Like, say, if you would hit somebody, whether it was the car or a person, or what would you do? And he said, well, you would get out of the car along with them, and you would argue for about 10 minutes, screaming at each other, and you get back in your car, and you would drive to work. I'll never forget that when I got in that car the first time. Every time I was in a vehicle, I thought, this is the end. At least I'm dying in good weather. Yeah, it did. I know. Obviously, there's many places that are different from India, but I mean, it just opened my eyes to how different it is no matter where you go. Even just when I was in Abu Dhabi, I was in India, and it was completely different. Cultures, languages, just the whole works. There's not a single thing there that you could say is the exact same as here. Even things that they do that are similar to ours, there's some way that they've changed it. It's completely different, And if that's the case in a country that's been struggling like India, then I mean there's no telling what it is everywhere else. Because everywhere has different cultures, different religions, different languages, and that would be something that I would like to experience is more than just India. Just to be able to compare them, just to know what else is out there. Because now I've got a little taste of having an experience like this. That it's like a drug, Just want a little bit more, just a little bit more. I was reluctant to come back, and they've already asked me to come back. They're asking when I'm coming back. Father Matthew asked me to just go to school over there and not come back. There's no telling where it is everywhere else, but my eyes have been open to the fact that it's completely different. I didn't really have any contradictions. I think because I went into it with an open mindset, I didn't really let anything bother me, so I didn't really have to worry about any of that. Like Ken had mentioned before, I didn't go there for a political reason or a religious reason. I went there to teach kids basketball. I went there to interact with little kids. So it allowed me to avoid any kind of problems, to be involved in any kind of problems, because I was just having a good time with little kids. There was no way I could possibly get wrapped up in anything other than what I was doing, because that's all I wanted to do. Honestly, I just kind of accepted whatever was thrown at me. I just assumed, that's what was supposed to happen. They have a very good educational system, in my opinion. The kids, for the most part, I mean, you're going to have your random kids here and there that don't want to be there, but as a whole, the kids wanted to be there. They were enthusiastic about it. And the teachers were so intelligent. Some of them were teaching me during my off time. I was trying to learn the language over there, but I stopped because I realized they have so many languages that, you know, you drive a couple hours east or west and you're running into another language and they have no idea what you're saying. Some of those kids were already taking classes which would be our sophomore or junior year of high school here that I took my first year of college. And, you know, there was little kids that I met them on the first day that they already knew 3 languages, and they were in like first or second grade. They knew English, they knew Malayalam, they knew Hindu, they were learning others, and they're that young, you know. The education system there is phenomenal. That's why they're all to help people. You know, when you call somewhere and you need an IT guy, that's them, because they all know how to tell you how to fix it. And it went with any subject. I attended the science fair that they had at Katy Carmel, and some of the stuff that they made, now some of it, you know, was still younger kids, but some of the older kids, if they would have brought some of the projects that they did here, it would have been winning science fairs here. I used to take part in them when I was younger, and some of the stuff they were doing, they should not be doing for their age, you know. If it would have been possible, I honestly would have liked to go to school there. If not growing up, one day, you know, just take a couple classes there to learn from somebody that went through that education system, because it's insane just how intelligent everybody is there. I mean, it's the only people you would run into that are not academically and common sense wise smart are the people that choose not to be. It was an incredible time. I mean, it was an experience that I'm never going to forget. I hope that I get the chance to do something like this again one day. I hope I get the chance to go back to India to see all the new friends I made. I would like to do it again one day, though. It's something that I've never experienced before, and I would like to experience again.